Test 1 2
Check,
test.
check. See.
Yeah, it's recording now. Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
All right.
Well, there we go. Yeah. So it's been a minute since we had you on. 2019, I believe, was the last time we had you on.
Was it? Wow. Yeah. Time flies.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me back.
Well, of course, we had that 1 year that just fucked everything up. 2020.
Yeah. That's right.
A lot of people aren't even counting that as a year. They're restarting 2021.
Right. Just omit 2020.
But I think you got a lot accomplished in 2020.
Yeah, I got lucky to a certain degree because I got on the road to interview and film with 16 badass dudes and was managed to pull it off in one run, from coast to coast, 11,000 miles and 16 dudes in 30 days. I don't think I even slept.
Could have been 17. You could have stopped here in Nashville.
Yeah, I should have. Next time. We'll do that in season 2 or season 3.
I'll give you some deadly combat farting skills. How to clear the room.
My pandemic mask will be ready.
There you go. I saw that video. You're showing how to make your own homemade pandemic mask. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was my attempt at being funny for pandemic people.
It was much enjoyed and needed. So we appreciate the humor there. So Leadheads, we just started our conversation here. This is my guest, in case you haven't figured it out. This is Clint Emerson. He is former Navy SEAL. He's an author. He's a badass. He's an entrepreneur. We had him on, like I said, a couple of years ago, 2019. I think it was, I got it written down here, episode 325.
Wow.
So if you Leadheads want to go back to that episode, we talked about his, it was a new book at the time, The Right Kind of Crazy.
Yeah. Which
during that episode, Clint, I had offered to give this, pay it forward and give it to one of our listeners, and we did a giveaway. I never heard from him, so I still have the book. The Right Kind of Crazy.
Yeah.
So they never claimed their prize, so too bad for them. I'm keeping it now.
Yeah.
But you've had an opportunity, like you said, since then you've been working on your series of books. You got 100 Deadly Skills.
Yeah.
And this is the third in that series, Combat Edition. And I'm really excited to talk about this because we kind of talked a little bit about it there in the beginning of our conversation. You went across the country interviewing and videoing with 17 of the world's most badass people. And you've got some tips and tricks in this book, and I want to talk about that. We're going to talk about your book a lot. I also want to talk about your van that you because we were talking about those the last episode. And you got me hooked on that website, Van Life.
Yeah.
Or Instagram, whatever it is. And I see those posts all the time. And it's just the most amazing conversion vans and vehicles that people have converted into, just like their living facilities, and they're amazing.
They are. Yeah. It's a bug out vehicle, and it's like hipsters and, a lot of your flower loving hippie people that kind of really are the majority of your van life. But the way I looked at it, I was like, man, no, this is a great way to travel the U.S. It's a step down from like 100% RV kind of stuff, because you can do some stealth camping. You can literally park anywhere and sleep for the night.
Park in a Walmart parking lot and be covered.
You can get away with neighborhoods wherever if you do a van, because it just kind of blends in with the neighborhood better than an RV. But yeah, it's a cool little world.
Well, plus they're not as bulky as like a big ass RV, and those things are hard to find a parking space for. But I want to talk about how you've kitted out your van, and I want to talk about that too. But first, we got to thank our sponsors of the Talking Lead podcast, our good buddies over at Keltec. KeltecWeapons.com. We made the announcement last episode that they will be hosting the lead quarters for the 2021 NRA in Houston. So we're going to Houston, baby. Woohoo! You heard NRA is going to be in Houston. So we're excited about that. So go show Kel-Tec some love. I don't know how much you appreciate bringing the Talking Lead podcast to the Houston, to the NRA. And we'll have more announcements associated with that because, as you know, we always do kind of really cool giveaways and promotions for special events like NRA, like SHOT Show, so on and so forth. So we're looking forward to that. So big thanks to Kel-Tec. If you haven't heard about their new pistol, they've got a P50, which is a 5.7 by 28 millimeter chambered pistol. Have you seen that one yet, Clint?
No.
You got to check it out, man. It's futuristic looking. It looks like a space gun, but it's a top load and it uses the P90 mags. So
gotcha. Is there ammunition? Can I buy ammunition right now for that?
I don't think it comes with the ammunition. So
yeah, it's just hard to come by. Is there primers? Can I get primers anywhere, please? How about casings?
I think they're more valuable than Bitcoin is right now.
No, it's crazy.
You know, some of that cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
You probably need that kind of return to buy that ammo.
Okay.
But I mean, that's the state of the world that we're in right now. You know, with back-to-back crisis, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
You know, here in Tennessee, we had some huge tornadoes that came through right before the COVID came in. So we were dealing with that, and some other areas of the country were doing the same thing. Then the COVID hits, you know, I hold my finger quotes up, the COVID pandemic scarce. And then, you know, we got the new administration. So,
yeah.
For the gun industry, the firearms industry, you know, sales have been good, but it's been impossible for them to keep up with it. So everybody's panic buying and stocking up, and it's hard to find guns and ammo these days.
Yeah, it is. Hard time. Need some 9mm. I just want the simple stuff. Can't even find it.
I just want some 9, baby. Shit. Give me some 9.
That's right.
I got this new magazine in from a company, ATI. I had it here. Oh, it's behind me. It's a 60 round AK-47 mag.
It's got some girth.
Yeah, it's like triple stack kind of deal. I took it out and shot it. They sent me another one because the other one malfunctioned. So I'm going to try this out, but they didn't send ammo with it. So until they send me some ammo, you know.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's a lot of guns, a lot of magazines out there people have bought, and they're all sitting around going, where do I get the ammo?
Right. Yeah, or I'm not spending that kind of money on the ammo. The ammo's out there. It's just expensive as hell.
Yeah. When
you can find it. But yeah, that's like going to the stripper bar and, you know, throwing out Benjamins.
Oh yeah.
Every time you shoot around through that.
Heck yeah. I bet that weighs a lot too once you load it.
It does. It's pretty. It's not too bad though. This is an AK mag, so this is for an AK-47.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that bad. But it's a booger bear to load because that spring. You can imagine the tension on that spring.
Oh yeah.
Those thumbs.
Yeah. When you get to about, you know, round 40, huh?
20 was.
20 was already getting tough.
20 was like, oh shit, damn.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yours a 30 round. You know, it's 30 round mag. It's just you pop them in there and no problem. But this one on 20 was already getting like shit. Let me try the load assist.
Yeah. How can I get these in here better, easier?
Yeah, that would be a great invention if somebody could come up with like a speed loader for that. Maybe they're in the works for one of those. But we saw a squirrel there. So Mission First Tactical, another sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast, 30 round AR mags, which I had one of those here too. I don't have it handy. I lost all my stuff, but you can go to Mission First Tactical, get 30 round mags. You can get our tactical dump trays there, which we're using them for our gunsmithing needs. So you put all your parts and everything when you're disassembling your guns.
Oh yeah.
On there. Very resilient to the chemicals and whatnot that's used to clean your guns. And you can get those there at Mission First Tactical. You get your own logo put on them too. They'll put them on there. They're ink injected. So that's not going to scratch off on there.
Yeah.
Very, very resilient, tough.
Give me some of those.
Along with their other AR accessories, use the code LEADHEAD. You're going to get 20% off, special just for you talking lead heads. And in SEAL 1, when you want to go and disassemble and clean those guns, you want to use SEAL 1. This is a former Navy SEAL, Dwight Settle. Do you know Dwight?
Yeah, I know Dwight. No kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had that going. So he's going on competing against old, what's the other one? Frog Lube?
Frog Lube. I don't know which one came out first, because SEAL 1's been out for a while.
Is it?
Yeah, but bio-friendly, all natural green materials used in that. It's not gonna hurt you, and it actually smells pretty good too, Clint.
Yeah.
I like the smell of it. It's kind of a minty.
Dwight.
It smells like out in his beach house with the breeze going through his hair.
I like it.
It's kind of minty-ish smelling, but yeah, you could even like frog lube, so you could put it on your lips and.
There you go.
But they don't recommend that. Clean your guns. It's great for corrosive protection. So for your marine tools and you boaters out there, fishing gear, all that, it's good for protecting that kind of stuff too.
Cool.
Check
I haven't
them out.
seen Dwight in years.
He was on with Jack. I had him on with Jack, so I should have got him on with you.
Yeah, that's all right. Next
I'll
time.
tell him you said hey.
Yeah.
But go check them out and use the code. Theirs is Leadhead also. I try to keep it simple. So use the code Leadhead. You can get 25% off any of the products at seal1.net.
Nice.
There you go. We'll hit some more sponsors a little later. And we got more discount codes too. We got all kinds of discount codes for our listeners, Clint. A lot more than last time when you were on. So we're just trying to hook them up, get them through these tough times with all the prices being jacked up. It's not just the firearms industry; it's everything. Everybody's having a tough time getting supplies to make their products.
Yeah.
The supply chain has been choked down. So we're going to talk about Clint's new book, 100 Deadly Skills Combat Edition. And I think it will probably come into play with our jackwagon train, with some of the jackwagons that we've got on our jackwagon train this week, Clint. So let's let Gunny bring that train in. Do you remember doing the jackwagon train last time?
I think so. Yeah, you make me say something, right?
No. I just... So for example, so Gunny bring that train in. He brought the train in, stationed. My jackwagon this week has to go to, and I had it over here. I've got like 19,000 windows open. 6 crooks armed with gun, knife, invade Bronx apartment. They tie up occupants, steal over 20,000 in cash and 75,000 in jewelry. So you kind of see where this would tie in with your book. So if these people had your skills.
Oh yeah.
So the story is 6 crooks armed with a gun and knife pushed their way into a Bronx apartment, tied up the occupants, and stole 20,000 in cash and 75,000 in jewelry. Police said Tuesday. The victim, a 45-year-old man, 35-year-old woman, answered a knock at their door in an apartment building. It says the address there. 4 men, 2 women pushed their way inside, with one crook pulling a gun and another brandishing a knife. The invaders bound the victim's hands with electrical tape, slashing the male victim in the head and neck. As the bound victims watched helplessly, the crooks ran off with cell phones, about $22K in cash, and 75,000 worth of jewelry, authorities say. The slashed victim refused medical attention, and the female victim was not hurt. So he must not have been hurt too bad. There's actually surveillance video. They've got video of this. And of course, Crime Stoppers, they're asking if you know and can give some tips to arrest these people. But, it looks like kids in their early 20s or so. They got the hoods. They're wearing their COVID mask. I mean, they're being safe about it.
Yep. The advantages of wearing a mask.
But with your book, with the 100 Deadly Skills Combat Edition, and your other 200 100 Deadly Skills, you give tips and tricks on, things like this too, situational awareness. What are some things that these people could have done to, prevented this?
Well, I mean, I'd have to go back. I mean, before there was even a knock on the door, I think we can all agree either the husband or the wife has a big mouth, or something to let people know that they had $25,000 cash and all this jewelry. So
exactly,
whether you're getting your hair done or talking to friends or on your cell phone being loud in a bar, you have to assume someone's always listening. People are always judging and scrutinizing you without you even knowing, and that's called third-party awareness. So you have to be aware of third-party awareness. And so that's the first piece, right? Don't let anybody know what you got going on. You got to learn how to put the ego in check, if that was the case. I don't know, and kind of keep what's near and dear to you on the down low. I think the biggest obvious, the other obvious one is, not only they let some information out, but they also let people know where they live somehow, some way. Now, these days, is it difficult to find out someone's address? No. I mean, a creative bad guy can figure these kinds of things out through surveillance, by following them and learning where they live, or just using social media, where people like to post a lot of different things. And just in a few pictures, you can almost determine exactly where they're standing or where they live based on just some pictures. So you gotta, it's a very holistic approach to preventing intelligence and information, personal information, to prevent it from getting out. You have to really put some forethought into it these days, because not just the pictures themselves tell a story, but, the picture has metadata attached to it. The metadata can have your geolocation of where the picture was taken. It can have the kind of phone, the kind, aperture, focal length. I mean, it tells them everything they need to know about the image and where the image was taken. So there's a lot of stuff you got to protect these days. So you got to take that into account. I think the next piece is, once, you obviously let everybody know you've got something worth stealing, you somehow let someone know where you live, and now you got to knock at the door, which, right off the bat, why would you answer it?
Right. And most doors have peepholes, right?
Yeah. Well, hell, everybody has technology too these days, like Ring, right? You could have a Ring doorbell.
Well, it looks like that's what they had on this, because there's video up above the door, videoing down at the people.
The entryway.
So, at the entryway. So I'm assuming they had some sort of a video surveillance.
And that's a good point, because a lot of us, everybody, technology is readily available. It's pretty cheap these days. You can, what used to be for the rich and famous, now anybody can have a full-blown surveillance system.
Yeah.
In their perimeter, interior, wherever you want to put it. So, but the bigger issue now is you have so much technology running into our phones. In alerts, we have calendar alerts, we have alarms, we have Amber alerts, we have all of these different alerts.
Weather,
and so let's say you've got your camera set up, you have certain areas of your house or perimeter geofenced. If anything walks into that geofence, then it's going to send you a JPEG or video or whatever. It's going to alert you. But the more alerts, the more sensitized you are to those alerts. Now you're desensitized to what is an emergency or what really matters. And then on top of that, you can have everything under the sun delivered, right? Amazon, food, your groceries, and what do? They ring
almost same day, some of the stuff.
Yeah. And so all of that combined now makes people completely complacent. And they go and answer the door without even looking through the peephole or leveraging all that technology. So my guess is they're used to having stuff delivered, and maybe these bad guys were counting on that. And, wearing a mask once again gives the bad guy an advantage that they didn't have before. ID quality just isn't working anymore. You can't even get on your iPhone anymore without pulling your mask down or typing in a code. So the door knock. Don't answer it.
I'm thinking that probably these people knew these these people, because the girls are going up without their mask covered, their face covered.
Yeah.
It looks like in the video, and they're like, "Hey, it's me, your buddy or your niece or whatever," and they let them in, and then it looks like the dudes come up behind them, and maybe they let them in. I don't know for sure, but that's just kind of what it appears to me, and I guess it's really hard to defend against somebody that you know and trust.
Yeah, that's a special situation right there. You just gotta, hope you're surrounding yourself with good people, or maybe there was a babysitter, or maybe dog sitter.
Your friends better, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or your family.
That's right. Yeah, without seeing the video, but I'm kind of talking generally anyway. I mean, these are all just general.
Yeah. Well, let's say they're confronted at the front door, and it's somebody, hey, what do you want? And then they're trying to force their way in. With the 100 Deadly Skills Combat Edition,
yeah,
I've seen several of these techniques that would come into play. You can't see it. I've got the.
Yeah, you got it up.
I was trying to hold the book up, but it's right here. So, which one in that situation would you think would be the best tactic?
Yeah, I mean, there's two people in the house. Obviously, you got multiple bad guys. And the door acts as a funnel, which allows you to almost take on one person at a time if you can respond that quickly. But like the first person in the book that I highlight and his skills, Tony Blauer, you have to weather the ambush before you can get in the fight. And there's a reason why I put him first, is that way giving people the skills to turn their natural startle flinch and then weaponizing it, right? That's what Tony masters. And that is, if a box is dropping out of a closet, your hands automatically go up to protect your head. If somebody scares you when you're walking around the corner, your hands tend to come up and kind of cover your head.
Right.
So you're taking that startle flinch and you're weaponizing it and turning it into this big, blocking force, right? So if somebody's coming at you through a doorway, boom, you're hitting them with the big spear system type block. And then now you can go to the rest of the tools in your fighting toolbox. It could be something boxing oriented, like a jab, a cross, something like that. Or you could, the next piece of information in Combat Edition is like Krav. You get a little bit of Krav skills. It could be some open hand strikes, some headbutts, some elbows, whatever. So what I did is tried to put everything in kind of a order from non-lethal to lethal, right? But in that situation, if you leverage, kind of like what we hear about the Spartans, right? Mm-hmm. At the Hell's Gates, right? They said it doesn't matter how big the army is. If we put them in a funnel, we're going to be fighting 300 versus, less than 300 at a time, right?
I just watched that movie last night.
Yeah.
What a coincidence. Yeah.
You're using the same philosophy in fighting. You're trying to stack your opponents in line with one another so that you're only having to fight one at a time. And so that's the key, right? So in that particular scenario, you got the door, it's the funnel. Now you got to start taking out one person at a time. But additionally, now you also have a barricade, which is the door itself. So if you can just take care of number one and slam the door, right? Separate the forces, drag them.
Oh, hold on, you froze up. Okay, we're good.
Ideally, you don't even, you don't want a bad guy in your house, but one is better than five. And if you can keep them all out, then you should do so. But, once again, when, there's two worlds. There's the situational awareness piece, of course, that we've already talked about and making sure you're paying attention. But there's also tactical decision-making, which is the opposite of clinical decision-making, right? Clinical is you got plenty of time and no stress. Tactical, you have no time and a lot of stress. And so that's why it's important. That's why it's so important to think through things when you're not in the middle of chaos, right? Just run these scenarios through your head think about that story. That's a great one to go by.
It's a great learning story, right?
Yeah.
What is it, cautionary tale? Is that what they call them?
Yeah, there you go. Don't do what they did.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but again, we don't know the complete scenario there. Everything behind what was going on. But to me, it looked like they knew the people. They were comfortable with them. They let them in, and they took advantage of them.
Yeah, that's too bad.
It's kind of what it sounds like to me. But beware of the delivery guy.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's my jack wagon right there. Anybody come to mind? You want to throw in the jack wagon train? You got any jack wagons? Anybody cut you off in your RV or?
We had a tornado. I mean, when I was traveling through where was it, Nebraska? Yeah, we middle of the night, just cruising to our next destination, and off to our right is this funnel just turning up, and we're like, oh, time to exit, and we got off and just seek shelter.
Did you get some video of it?
I think my camera guy was trying, but it was so dark and it was pouring rain, and the only way we noticed what was going on was when anytime lightning, it would highlight the area.
Yeah.
And then you knew what was up. And then we had these alerts come over. I think it was our phones, and then I had the radio going, and they were talking about this tornado, and sure enough, it was out our passenger side window. So we got out, parked underneath a bridge for a split second. Then I saw some other structures and buildings just down the road. And luckily for us, the tornado was, was going to go the other direction anyway. But yeah, that was.
You never can tell with a tornado because those things will turn on a dime, man.
Unpredictable.
Yes, they are.
That was a road trip fun.
Was that early on in your travels?
I think it was. Yeah, it was in the first half. Yeah. We started on the East Coast, knocked out a lot of guys there. Then we went up to Ohio, hit a couple folks there, and then just kept continuing across the United States, eventually getting to Vegas, and then up to Idaho, and then came down the West Coast, and then back to Texas. So yeah, it was one big circle of America.
Very nice. And when did you start that tour? How long did it take you to do your tour?
Yeah, we literally left on, it was this time last year, close, May 1st, and then back home by June 1st. So it was 30 days, 16 guys, 11,000 miles coast to coast. I mean, if you do the math on that, when you're spending a full day with each guy.
Yeah. Is that all you had with each one?
What's that?
Is that all you had with each guy? Was it one day?
Yeah, it was one pretty decent day. Yeah. Some shorter, some longer than others, but for the most part, a day. Yeah.
How long did it take you to set this up and organize it, and pick the 17 experts that you wanted to feature in your book? How long did that take you to just like, all right, I'm doing this combat edition, and these are the guys I want in it?
It was.
I'm sure you had to. I mean, it was probably tough to narrow it down because a lot of badasses.
Right. I mean, there was a lot of guys. My list was bigger than the 16, even though that's kind of an odd number, or it's an even number. But I didn't round it to 20 or 10 or
Yeah.
But I probably started asking guys probably 9-10 months out. And then at the 6-month marker, I had narrowed down like all the yeses, and then let everybody know May, do not, I'll be on the East Coast early May, I'll be on the West Coast at the end of May. Then as we got closer, I, narrowed down the actual days with each guy. But the pandemic, I mean, it really did play a big part in this, because I don't think I would have been able to, pull that off again, like right now. Everybody's back on the road again.
Right. Yeah.
Most of these guys are running training courses all over America. So, the pandemic and keeping people at home certainly helped build this book.
Very nice. I mean, that's one positive thing about the pandemic. But I mean, you've got some really famous people in here as well, and some people that we've had on the show too. I noticed as I was going through there, some friends of the show.
Yeah.
The 16 people, and this is 100. So you got actually 100 daily skills that you've got in here.
Mm-hmm.
And what I really like about this is that it's not just a sit down and read, and you're visually trying to picture these maneuvers, and you've got some great illustrations. Your illustrator did a really good job on the illustrations. But what's really cool about this is you've implemented technology in your book, and you've got those QR codes in there.
Yeah.
And for each skill, you've got an actual video, a real live video that you filmed. And with my phone, I got an Android. I had to get one of those QR code readers, but it works.
Yeah.
But for most smartphones that people are up to date, mine's probably 10 years old. You just turn your camera on and scan that, and it takes you right to the video. And
Right.
I really thought that was a cool way to do a book, and just kind of, because it's sitting there and looking at a book, all day long too, as you're reading it, because you want to keep reading. It breaks it up,
Yeah.
It makes it more enjoyable, and it gets you up because you want to get up and you want to, try these maneuvers out. So I really liked that part of the book that you did. I thought that was really smart.
Yeah, it was. It's a clash, right? It's a clash of old school and new school in one item, one book, right? I mean, some people like to read, some people like pictures, some people like video, and I knew, wow, I remember QR codes coming out several years ago, and they kind of failed. They fell on their face because not enough people had smartphones. Now, everyone has a smartphone. And once again, the pandemic helped the book. I mean, QR codes were not being heavily used prior to the pandemic. Now they're everywhere, right? Because everything's touchless.
Yeah,
and
I was using them. I did real estate. I was using them in real estate. So I would have QR codes on signs and websites and stuff that people can take. Yeah.
Yeah, and so what?
Very effective for the right, for the right uses. And I think, like you said, you capitalized perfect timing with the pandemic. So.
Lucky, yeah.
Are you seeing lucky. A lot? Does it track how many views you get? Like people actually use the code?
Yes.
Because I know ours, you could track how many people.
Yeah. So analytics has come a long ways these days, right? So you can run the analytics on every single video, and then inside the videos, it's once you get there, it's no different than any other kind of almost YouTube channel. You can leave comments and and take advantage of. Some of the guys have discount codes attached to each of their videos. Awesome. That stuff's still getting updated, but yeah, you're reading about the skill, you're seeing the illustrations, the step by step on how to do it, and then of course you watch the video and you're getting all the details that words and illustrations cannot capture. So
yeah, the next best thing would be, they do the QR code and then you show up at the front door and teach it. When's that coming? That coming?
Yeah, that would be cool. That's that's definitely that would be a more expensive book, that's for sure.
Or what you could do is you could have that in one book, one edition, one lucky reader would get that. They scan it, and then you would come to their house personally. That would be
that'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be fun. Maybe some kind of sweet. Maybe we can do a giveaway like that or something.
You could bring Zoltan with you, and he'd bring Finger Death Punch and have a concert.
That's right. You can have them playing music in the background while you're doing 100 daily skills.
While you're fighting with Clint. That would be awesome. How cool would that be, man?
Yeah. Zoltan's awesome.
Yeah, and I knew that he was into this, the self-defense and the jiu-jitsu and kung fu and all that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how deep he was into it. So that was really cool. So that got me researching him a little bit more once I saw him here, and you posted a tease on your Instagram the other day too.
Right. Yeah, he's anybody who doesn't know Zoltan Bathory, he's a rock star. an immigrant, came to this country not speaking a word of English, with a guitar slung over his shoulder. Didn't actually pursue any of the music side of his capabilities, and actually was like a consultant up in New York City for a while, learning English while he was doing all these kind of like interesting consulting jobs. And then, one day he decided, all right, it's time to start, maybe chasing down his dream. And him and another guy were scribbling on a napkin, Five Finger Death Punch would be a cool name, right, for a band, and they just kind of talking about it, different names of bands, and that was the one that stuck. And
the rest is history, as they say.
The rest is history. Now he's got Five Finger Death Punch, multi-platinum records, and he owns 2 other bands as well. He's a really smart business guy. But obviously the other piece of him is he's a black belt judo guy, brown or black jiu-jitsu. So he's a very capable fighter. He's also one of the Army certified combatives guys, and obviously a huge supporter of the military. And that's where most people know Five Finger Death Punch, is because they literally pick their tour sometimes in America based on where the bases are. So that the largest number of military can come and watch them thrash on the stage. So
there you go.
Awesome dude. Awesome guy.
Yeah. So speaking of Zoltan, he is our Leadhead Brigade hero for all the support that they show our military men and women.
Nice.
So Five Finger Death Punch and Zoltan, welcome to the Leadhead Brigade, Lead Force One. You are heroes this episode.
Nice. Zoltan. It's got a cool name too.
He does. Is that like real, or did he just, that's my stage name kind of?
Yeah, that's his. He's like Zoltan Bathory. I don't know. It's if he's got a real name, I don't know it. That's the only name I think he's got, but I'm not sure.
I mean, that's a good one. I like it.
Yeah.
Fits in with the Five Finger Death Punch too.
It does. Yeah.
Now, did you get to I know you said you only got to spend like a day or so. Did they do any jam sessions while you were there? Were you able to?
No, I literally, went to Vegas, went to his house, and hung out with him all day. And what's interesting is this is a rock star, and it's not to knock any of the other guys, but I mean, he literally was like, let's hang out all day. I mean, we started in the morning and we didn't leave until well into the afternoon, early evening, and he would have just kept on going. So to have someone like him just basically give all that time in the world, and but I think it's really shows how passionate he is about martial arts, because people want to talk to him about his guitars and about his music and about his band every single minute, right?
Yeah.
It's not too many people that want to hear about his martial arts background, his capability as it relates to fighting and combative. So I think that, was obviously it's what allowed us so much time with him, is because it is something he's truly passionate about and loves and enjoys.
Yeah. Would love to have him on the show.
I'll let him know, man. He's one of those guys that he's not shy. So I'll see.
I'm sure he's not. But that's the kind of stuff we like, talking about the music and the fighting. So I mean, he would fit in perfect on the Talking Lead. Now, another thing that you did interesting in this book was you have the badass, and then you've got their opponent, the evil dude.
Yeah.
What do you call them?
I've got the
enemy
badasses versus the enemy, and the enemy are real life bad guys in history.
Yeah. So how did you pair up? How did you say, all right, I want Zoltan to fight this dude, I want Jason to fight this dude, let's pair those up.
Well, I started with the obvious ones. So I've got the former Delta Force guy fighting Saddam Hussein, right? Because it was the Delta guys that kind of found him and took him down. Right. I've got a SEAL, obviously going up against bin Laden, because it was the SEAL community that, took down bin Laden.
Right.
So you kind of see like, then I had the next kind of layer of, process of elimination or comparison was, okay, Krav Maga is Israeli. So of course I had the Israeli martial art go up against Hitler, which,
Makes sense.
makes sense, and a little bit of a tribute, to the Krav guys. And then I had the one percenter, the motorcycle outlaw guy, go up against Chapo, because I feel like they're always battling over territory.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes the whole drug world and the 1% world kind of overlap from time to time. So
yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of fun pairing them up and making sure that like military targets were with military guys, and then civilian bad guys were with kind of like counterpart civilian. Epstein is my favorite.
I was going to say, Jason. How did Jason feel about getting paired with Epstein? He probably liked it.
Just throwing knives at his face. So that. But yeah, it's the other piece too is there's a lot of other popular bad guys, but when you talk about illustrations, I kind of went with bad guys that people would recognize, right? Mm-hmm. I could have put a Ted Bundy or, any of these other serial killers, but the reality is most people don't know what they look like. If they were illustrated, they would look at the illustration and go, who is that? And I wanted to make sure I picked bad guys that were recognizable right off the bat. So are there people worse than Charles Manson? Yes, but Charles Manson is very recognizable.
Right.
And so, so that was the other kind of piece of building it, is making sure that, people would know who the hell the bad guy was.
It makes it fun too.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of a
real bad guys getting their ass kicked by real badasses.
Yeah, you got Mao Zedong in there. Was it the Somalia pirates?
Yeah. Yeah, all of our more popular bad guys over history.
They're in there.
Yeah, they're in there.
They're in there. Do you have like 100 different bad guys, or do you have like some guys fighting? Well, of course, there's 16 people, so you'd have 16 bad guys, I guess.
Right. Because each guy provided anywhere between 3 to 13 skills to make up the 100. So.
Now, did you take part with them in the videos? Each one, were you there with them personally doing the demonstrations on every one of the videos?
Yeah, some of the guys, I was the punching bag. Other guys had one of their students or sidekicks to help out. Like, great story, Zoltan, right? We're at his house. He's got a little MMA room, and he's like, so, do you want me to show this stuff on you? And I'm like, yeah, we can do that. He's like, oh, no, wait a minute, hold on. And he like starts texting, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, I've got a Gracie staying over on the other side of the house. And I'm like, wait a minute,
Gracie.
You have a like Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Gracie family member staying on the other side of the house? He's like, yeah, Kion will come over. He's coming. And so, within a couple of minutes, here's Kion Gracie walks through the door. This kid is like 6'2", 3. He is obviously a Bellator competitive fighter right now, right? He's quite the badass, and he comes walking through the door with his gi on, and he's like, real quiet, silent operator kind of like, okay, what do I need to do? And
it's like he sleeps in his gi.
Yeah.
He just wears it around all day. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was sitting there like, wait a minute, this is like completely, this is one of those unrealistic things. Here's a rock star and a Gracie, and now they're throwing each other around in front of me at the rock star's house. I mean, right.
You're just like,
yeah,
like, I'm ready for my next book to get
right.
to do this again.
Like, completely surreal, and what a privilege.
How many generations are there the Gracies now in the
well? It's connected back to their grandfather, down in, he's really the guy. And they, if you follow any of them, they kind of throw tribute to him pretty regularly, especially anniversaries and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, and it's a big family too. There's a lot of Gracies, but they're royalty, and obviously in the fighting MMA world. Yeah.
We had Hoyce on a couple of years ago. He's a big hunter. He's into hunting. He likes hunting.
Yeah, I've noticed he's become kind of a tactical guy, right? He's got a line of holsters or a holster company or something. Or
I wouldn't be surprised if he's got, all kinds of everything going on now.
Right. Yeah.
But interesting cats, definitely. So as you're traveling around the United States and you're doing these, which one would you say maybe you learned the most from? You're like, I didn't really know, because you got a lot of training yourself. Talk about your background for those who didn't catch our first episode with you.
Right. I grew up doing, I was kind of limited growing up overseas. All they offered is when I was a kid, and this is in the 80s, was Taekwondo. And then ninjas came on scene. Ninjas were really popular in the 80s, and I talk about those very regularly. That's all I wanted to do was be a ninja, right? And, I don't know what kid back then didn't. And, it's not like you can just go down to your local martial arts dojo and learn ninjutsu.
Right.
But, so then once I got back to the States, then I got into JKD, Jeet Kune Do, which, was the Bruce Lee martial arts. And he basically took Wing Chun, pulled all the bullshit out of it and created Jeet Kune Do. And so I really liked that. It was cool. And then a little bit of Kali kind of crept in over time. And then college is when the Gracies came on scene, started crushing everybody. So, of course, I started doing a little bit of jujitsu, and then I joined the Navy. And, in the Navy, you get, a lot of different kinds of combatives training. Most of it revolves around, you got your gear on, you got your weapon systems, and now you got to fight. And then in my off time, I enjoyed boxing, really got into that. And still try to squeeze that into my schedule from time to time, even today. But yeah, that's kind of my background. But all these guys, I learned an enormous amount from each guy, because it was like a combatives sustainment training trip for me, right? It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Or,
right.
Oh yeah. Like, if you're not doing it, you're not going to know it. And that's, and it's that applies to everything in that kind of that tactical world, And so,
which one did you, in all your training, which one did you really click with and have you continued to do?
You mean with those guys?
No, with the different fighting styles, like the jiu-jitsu or
I try
ninjutsu.
There's no particular art, I would say. If there's one that I do more regularly than the others, that's box, right? I don't get out on the mats as much as I should, mainly because my joints are hammered, right? My hips hurt.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, shoulders hurt. And I know you get out on the ground with someone, I will end up injured again. So, whereas boxing, it's on your feet and it's just strikes. It's 4 strikes. It's a jab across, an uppercut, and I just went blank and your hook. So
jab, uppercut.
Hook. Uppercut. Yeah. And so those 4 strikes and a series of combinations is why I like boxing so much. And it's kind of fun. It's a little like, once you get out there, it's like playing chess, but that's what I keep up with probably the most, along with, a little bit of blade work, making sure you always know your draw with the blade and with whatever handgun you choose to carry each day. And I feel like as long as I keep those up and running, then you're pretty good for most things.
Now, when you were some kicks. Now, when you were Jason Johnson, he's foremost knife throwing, wielding expert.
Right.
I'm sure he kind of showcased his skills for you a little bit. Did he do anything just like, jaw dropping while you were out there?
He never misses. That was probably the jaw dropping part. That dude, doesn't matter the distance. When he throws a knife, it sticks every single time.
It's amazing.
And, once he taught me, the basics, then every time I threw, it stuck too, and I was like, wow, it's not that I am good at anything for the first time. I'm not. I suck at everything the first time. But his blades with his technique, it works extremely well. Yeah. And like he says, the reality is it doesn't matter if it sticks or not. It's a 1 pound piece of steel you're throwing at someone, and whether it sticks
one way or
not,
another, it's going to inflict some sort of damage, right?
right, it's going to hurt. It's going to cause them to flinch, and either you're going to run the opposite direction or you're going to draw your firearm. You know, so it's a great tool that everyone should at least get some exposure to and think about. You know, in today's age, you know, it doesn't hurt. Heck, in some states, it might be your primary because of handgun restrictions. So, you know,
in some countries, yeah, definitely in other countries,
right? Yeah.
Hopefully, we won't be following suit, but with all the shenanigans that are going on right now, you know, it's amazing how all of a sudden all these mass shootings have started popping up again.
Well, you know, my primary job is teaching corporate America, like, you know, really how to protect. I'm protecting employees, you know, with policy, training, and tools. But, you know, I don't think it should be a surprise to anyone that this will be the year of the active shooter, because, you know, the pandemic has created isolation. Isolation increases substance abuse, relationship issues, mental health issues. So you've got all those things on the rise, mainly because of that isolation containment piece. And so, yeah, we're going to have an outburst of mass shootings, and not just here, it's global, you know, mass something. It's, you know, whether it's a knife wielding idiot or somebody driving a car over people. Yeah. You know, so it's a good reason to, you know, definitely get your senses on high alert, you know, and be on.
I was reading somewhere, CNN probably, they said there's 150 mass shootings already this year.
Yeah, that's an FBI statistic, and so
is that FBI? Okay.
We're on our way to, you know, what people don't know is most years prior to the pandemic, you'd have 300 to 400 mass shootings per year, right? Most people just didn't know it. So we're well on our way to probably having a record number this year, and it's just off-gassing from, you know, a year and a half of.
But you know, last year, and it could have just been me, I don't recall, again, the attention and all the news going towards the mass shootings. You know, there might have been a couple that they reported heavily on, but it seems like now, and of course with this administration in, you know, they're really pushing their agenda and putting it at the forefront of every news story, every news station. You know, they're putting it out there, and it just seems like that's the reason why, because now they've got the administration in and they're pushing their agenda again.
Yeah, I think you're nailing it. The media and whatever administration is in decides what's important and what isn't, you know.
Right. It's not like these haven't been happening this whole time. It's just they haven't been reporting them.
Well, while everybody was locked up, you know, violence went down. Even with social unrest was up, violence overall had gone down for a while because people weren't out. Yeah. Well, now we're back out, and, you know,
we're mad.
Yeah, people are definitely, you know, definitely going on the crazy side. But like I said, it only makes sense, right? You've been cooped up. If some people lost their jobs, they don't have money. There's a lot of, all of the reasons why there are shootings to begin with have been exacerbated by the pandemic, you know? Yeah. So it's common sense will tell you that, there's going to be more shootings because, you know, everything's been cranked up a notch or two.
Yeah. And if you look at the ones that they're reporting on, I guess, CNN, they start off in April, you know, and then they work their way all the way down, you know, to the previous shootings all the way to, it's like March 16th, which was the Atlanta, I guess, that spa shooting.
Right.
But if you go through and you're looking at these, you're like, okay, Chicago, Detroit, you know, these are all like the gang, you know, rough neighborhood kind of thing. Memphis, Tennessee, right here, you know, right here in my back. I'll say my back door. I'm in Nashville, but, you know, Memphis is here in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. You know, you look at them and there's a pattern there, and it's this pattern that has always existed that they refuse to really look at, as far as when, you know, when the the violence occurs, the shootings, or what kind of violence is that called?
Active shooter, mass shooter, active
Yeah,
murder.
just violence, and just, you know, whether they use a battery.
Man-made crisis is, yeah.
Yeah. But you know, that's what they're not really recognizing on
No.
this. They're just saying, all right, here's a mass shooting that fits our statistics, but those have always been there. And if you take those,
Right.
it's always isolated to these 4 little spots in the country where any day they want to go there, they could pick and they could get a mass shooting if they wanted to.
Right, like South Chicago, right? It's always got something going on.
We have the strictest gun laws in the world.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too that they tend to ignore is they skip pistols, they go straight to assault rifles and make a big deal out of it. But you know, when I was doing the research for the book, because we have pistol and rifle skills in there, you know, I dug way deep into that world. And what's interesting is when you talk about violent crime with the use of firearms, okay, not necessarily a murder or an active shooter, but anytime there's just a violent crime with a firearm versus—
That's the word I was looking for, violent crime.
Yeah, violent crime.
Violent crime, yeah.
Versus with a handgun versus or let's just say violent crime with a firearm versus violent crime versus a knife. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when you compare the numbers, it doesn't matter whether it's pistol or rifle with the firearm assaults, and knife comes in only about, I would say, maybe 10-15% less than the firearm incidents. Now, when you break down the firearm incidents, the pistol is overwhelmingly the #1 weapon of choice, right? Mm-hmm. But they always skip to the 30-round magazine, the 20-round magazine, and the rifle, even though the majority of violent crime is with a pistol, not a rifle.
Now that's using a weapon, but I've also seen statistics that, you know, as far as bludgeoned weapons like a hammer or a bat or something like that, there's way more of those violent crimes that occur than anything with a firearm. Yeah,
I think how they labeled it was violent crime with edged or edged weapons, right?
Yeah.
And then you got violent crime with firearm, and then they break down pistol, rifle, and other. You know, so
and then just fist fighting. You know, people dying from, you know, fist fights or feet. You know, more people die from that than firearms.
Right. There's a lot of
violent crimes.
Yeah, it's nothing. Once again, no surprise, right? The media is going to pick and choose. It's very subjective. You know, that's why you gotta. If you want to watch the news, watch the BBC. They usually give a little better of an unbiased opinion of the United States.
Really, the BBC does. That's
watch overseas stuff about America, and you tend to get like a less opinionated version because they're just going to go with, you know, usually they go with just what they gather as what's important to talk about instead of, you know, splicing in 3 hours of opinion on some talk show, right? So I tend to watch overseas stuff about us more often than I watch our own news.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing too. Like you said, the BBC, the other one. Sometimes I'll watch Al Jazeera, but I don't watch them quite a bit as much.
Sky, BBC, those are kind of like the European based. Yeah.
There's another one. It's not coming to me right now, but that's another one that I would tend to watch. So 100 Deadly Skills is at Amazon. You get it at Amazon, the Combat Edition, and then you go to your website also and get this. Is that correct?
Yeah. So what I did this time around is offered the signed copies are through violentnomad.com, and then if you just want your own copy, you know, non-signed, you just go to Amazon like everything else.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the signed ones go to Violent Nomad, and you've got 3 different websites. You got Violent Nomad, you've got the 100 Deadly Skills, and then you've got the Escape the Wolf, right?
Right. So the easiest website is ClintEmerson.com. That kind of holds the whole ecosystem of offerings, right? And then you can, at ClintEmerson.com, you can click to all the other offerings. So the easy way to kind of break it down is 100 Deadly Skills is basically books, you know. Violent Nomad is apparel and everyday carry items. And then Escape the Wolf is corporate.
Speaking of apparel.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Good friend of mine gave me that.
That's the Violent Nomad shirt.
Yeah, man. Violent Nomad. Did you get those shirts I sent you?
I did. I use one of them, man, with whatever material it's out of, I use for working out all the time.
I'm telling you, it's the most comfortable t-shirt ever.
Yeah. I think mine are out of the same material as yours, and it's super,
mine's more comfortable.
Yeah, yours is better. Okay.
The one with the original logo, I don't know what it is about that material, but it's thinner. It's a little bit thinner than these or the Leadhead Brigade ones. And it just I don't know, it just hugs the body, and
right.
But it also ventilates it, because it's not.
I tell people all the time, our shirts make even the fattest guy look like he's in shape. Just the fit.
Or they've actually accentuated my sitting on the couch COVIDness.
Oh yeah, that could happen too.
I've put on a few pounds. I gotta get back in the gym. But we posted some post on our social media, letting people know that you were going to be on and ask you some questions. So I want to go there now.
All right.
And we're going to do a giveaway to one of our lucky listeners. I did some announcements. We're going to give away a Geisley AR trigger.
Nice.
These things are probably a couple $100 these days, probably even more than that. They're hard to find.
Sweet.
So if you would go to our Instagram page, Clint, and I'm going to pull up Facebook also. We've got questions on Facebook and Instagram.
Sure.
Let me refresh our post that we did. It's not the 2 videos that I did this morning. Those were live videos that I did. I did this episode prior to this with nutrient survival.
Yeah.
It's a food. It's one of those survival foods.
Oh, nice.
And I made one up this morning and had it for breakfast. I had their morning scramble, and it was really good. I enjoyed it. But go back to the previous episode as you're listening to this, Leadheads, and nutrient survival. They've got a great variety of different flavors here. So they've got something for breakfast, lunch, dinner. They got snacks, but it's all vitamin packed. So they've got vitamins in there. So it's not just a bunch of calories you're getting. You're actually getting protein, 14 vitamins, 14 minerals. You're getting your omega-3s. In every one of their packs, their desserts and everything. So, and they taste good. It's not like eating an MRE. They're pretty tasty.
That's always a plus.
Yeah, and we gave away 2 of those during that episode, 2 of those variety packs to you Leadheads. So let's go to this post.
I see some here with the picture of the book.
Yeah, that background that I had.
That's a couple of questions.
Yeah, let's go there first. And Sack Archer says, what's your favorite fixed blade to date and carry style?
Yeah, so prior to me coming out with the Outlaw, and that's a new knife that you can find over at Violent Nomad. I still will carry my Violent Nomad, which was what I call the Outlaw. And I also carry, and a big fan of Bill Rapier's Amtac blades, the Northman. Now he comes in different sizes. One of his originals is what I carry the most, which is it's a fixed blade with an extended clip on the sheath, so you can still carry it in the corner of your strong or weak side pocket, right?
Okay.
And it's an ambidextrous sheath, so you can put the knife in so that handle is set up in the direction in which you do your draw. So yeah, whether it's the Outlaw or the Northman are definitely my current.
So the Outlaw, this is on Clint's website, Violent Nomad. It's a .156 thickness You've got a CNC flat ground, flat coarse textured G10 handle. Overall length 8.25 inches. Got 3.55 cutting inch. It's 5.6 ounces, lightweight. Got a nice minimalist sheath. I like that.
Yeah, you can put your own clip on there, because I'm kind of one of those. If it's a fixed center clip, it doesn't necessarily work with how I carry or the way I move things around. So I figure, well, hey, anybody can put their ulti clip on there and be good to go.
Yeah, I like it. It's got a good look to it. So that's a fixed blade.
Yeah, it's we kind of, the design wise, I worked with Filo blades, FILO blades, and Rob, I kind of gave him some ideas, and then he went and turned it into a work of art. The thing's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. So go check that out, there, lead heads.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one. Iron Lord says, in your opinion, what is the most effective improvised weapon in a denied area?
Well, denied, having worked in denied areas, one of the first things I would do is, let's say I'm getting off the plane or I get into the country, and denied applies to several things, right? How you define it really is the question I would have back. So the 2 or 3 definitions: one, denied is hostile, like, you're going into an area that you're more than likely going to run into incident with the people, the culture, whatever, or bad guys. And then there's denied as it relates to foreign intel, meaning as soon as you land, you're probably going to have surveillance on you 24/7. So, but either one, I would, let's say, get off the plane, and my first stop would be to the supermarché or the souk or whatever they've got in the area, buy some snacks, bottled water. You can buy kitchen knives anywhere on this planet, and a pair of shoelaces, and going old school with the minimalist sheath. You can use the shoelace to anchor it to your belt, girth hitch it, and then you can still carry an appendix. And when you pull that knife, the sheath just drops and hangs from the shoelace tied and anchored to your belt loop. So you can still practice and still have all that muscle memory, just it's going to be with a different blade that you pick up at the grocery store, right? Yeah. Which are great. All of them come with a plastic sheath these days, right? So yep. It's economical. And if you didn't have a sheath, you can take a piece of cardboard and some duct tape and create your own sheath. So it's just about, so I would say that's what I did the most. As soon as I got into an area, I went and the reason I say, buy some other, if you're going to buy a knife, you better buy a block of cheese with it, so always have a reason why you're buying the knife, and go from there. But until I did Combat Edition and went down to Miami and hung out with Joe Rabena, who is the master of canes. The cane now has become like one of my favorites, a tactical wood cane. That thing, number one, it's a weapon that you can carry that you don't have to draw. It's already drawn. It's already ready to go. You can get the tip of a cane with very little practice up to about 150 to 200 miles an hour. It's harder than a baseball bat, and you can carry it anywhere on the planet without question because of HIPAA laws. I can carry that cane onto a plane. I can carry it into a church or school, and no one is allowed to ask me why. But you just got to put your ego in check when you're going to go carry a cane, right? Because cane represents disabled or old or whatever is out there, right? And most people that carry canes. But the reality is, man, that is the ultimate.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Like a walking stick, walking cane kind of thing.
An old school cane that actually has a crook, right? It has that turn in it. Mm-hmm. So if the crook is pointing forward, that's battle mode. When the crook is turned backwards, that is just your everyday use of a cane. And so in the cane world, in that fighting world, as soon as you turn that cane around to where the point or the hook is pointed towards the enemy, that gives you the capability to use the cane as a very deadly weapon. And all that's discussed in the book, by the way. I mean, 100 Deadly Skills, there's a whole cane section that I think it will be very surprising to people. I was blown away. I was like, okay, this is going on the lines of cheesy. And then I started seeing what he could do with that thing. And then I was like, okay, there's no reason why, especially veterans, right? Veteran, you're all beat up, broken, you got a bad hip, bad knee, whatever. Carry one of those, and you will have the upper hand. Without the bad guy ever.
Now he's not talking about those that have hidden knives or hidden guns and things like that. You're not going to get those through airport.
Right. No, this is a tactical. It's a wooden cane.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can easily travel.
All wood.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Go check out that book, Iron Lord. Next question is from Seaside Savage. What's the story on the Buck 119? Oh, he's talking about the one in my picture that I posted.
Yeah, anything about it.
So that is a personal gift from CJ Buck himself that he gave me. He custom made this as a one of a kind.
Nice.
Buck 119.
I think you still have background mode on or something. It's
always let me turn the background off.
Yeah, it's been blurry on this side I should have told you that earlier.
There we go.
There you go.
How's that?
Yep. Now I see you.
Yeah. So here's the Buck 119 that he's referring to.
Oh, okay.
It's got a Cerakoted blade. It's got the extra grips. I don't know what that grip's called.
Yeah.
But he designed this specifically for me. He's got a leather sheath.
It's good. It's got that old K-bar look to it.
Yeah, it's kind of a K-bar, but it's Buck Knives
made
this. And they gave me a letter of authenticity here too. It says, this letter is to affirm that this Buck Model 119 special was made at the Buck Knife Factory in Post Falls, Idaho, which you were in Idaho. The Cerakote finished blade is of 420HC stainless steel and is stamped Buck 119 USA with the date code marked for 2018 on the right-hand side. The guard and pommel are of polished aluminum with a spacer of red micarta in the guard. The handle is made from a black Zytel handle from a model 188 bayonet with a top and bottom spacer of black G10 with red vulcanized paper, custom made for Marty, aka Lefty of Talking Lead fame.
That's awesome.
I don't think I've read that before. That is good. And signed by Joe Hauser, who made it, and CJ Buck.
That's a good deal right there. Shit.
So that's the story. Yeah, they hosted us at the last 2 or 3 SHOT Shows. Of course, we didn't have it this year. We were going to be there again this past year, and everybody knows it was canceled. But we will be at NRA. I mentioned that earlier. September, we're going to be at NRA. Keltec's booth is hosting us at NRA, so there's no telling what kind of badassery we'll have going on there. Do you see any questions there that stick out to you that you wanna field?
Let's see here. I think Austin Wayland.
Austin Wayland. Howdy,
Wayland.
Austin.
There we go.
Texas.
Did you originally plan to have Tom Mandrake do your illustrations, or did you plan on having comic book artists do the illustrations? So no, I picked Tom. Tom is the illustrator of Combat Edition, and Tom is he's a pretty popular guy in the illustrator world, and so he did the entire Superman versus Batman series for DC. He's done a lot of stuff for Marvel. He is the guy who created Swamp Thing. He literally is he literally is let's see, Black Mask. He created that bad guy that was in the last Birds of Prey with what's her name? I can't remember that.
Yeah, her.
Yeah, the Joker's girlfriend, that movie.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Harley Quinn's enemy in that second movie is created by Tom. So I mean, he's literally a legend in the illustration world. So it was awesome to have him do the illustrations of all the guys. Let's see what else is here. What
I
are the
like that.
top?
We're getting because we talked last time. We're both comic book guys, Marvel guys, DC guys. We're
Yeah.
kind of into that stuff. And with Jack Carr, he had Ray. What's Ray's last name? The guy that read the book.
Oh yeah,
Porter. Ray Porter.
Right. Who's playing
Dark Side.
Darkseid. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Deathstroke. Was it Deathstroke? No, Darkseid. Darkseid. Yeah.
Yeah, Darkseid. Deathstroke was
Was the other dude.
Yeah, I can't remember that guy's name, but
right.
That's cool. We got comic book ties with
Heck yeah.
with these books. I love that. That's awesome.
You got to. Yeah.
That's awesome. So on Facebook, let's see, Mike Clark, have you ever been able to use someone's gun against them?
Have I?
I guess disarming them with their own gun. I think that maybe.
I mean, I personally have never been in a situation like that. Now, weapon disarmament definitely is in, books 1 and 2 and 3. There's a little bit of that in all 3 books. So it's a skill that, once again, you should know and hopefully never have to use. And then there's the other side of it. There is being well-rounded with firearms to the point where you know how to use potentially the bad guy's gun, right? Mm-hmm. So for us in the military, making sure you're good with Chicom, the AK-47 type platforms in case, you got to use a bad guy's gun in that capacity. So that's just, being familiar with different platforms of firearms, just in case you have to use your adversary's gun against them.
Very cool. Aaron Sweeney says, Mr. Emerson, what is your favorite bourbon to sip on while writing your awesomely badass books?
Man, there's been a bunch of them. I think, the one that I probably, which one do to go with the most, like, what's my most popular when I'm at the bar? Because I usually take
what's
a
your
look.
Go-to?
Yeah.
Mine's Jack Daniels.
Well, that's where you get into the debate of whiskey versus bourbon. Tennessee versus Kentucky. Yeah. So a Kentucky bourbon, I would say that's kind of the go-to. And then
I like Bullet.
Yeah. Yeah. If there's none of those available, then I'll go to the whiskeys. But it's general. I'll just say anything Kentucky, I'll go with first, and then Tennessee second.
Hey, what's happy hour, baby?
Yeah.
What's on happy hour?
That's right.
Let's see. Let's take one more. Jonathan Gallup, giddy up. What's the weirdest situation where you had to use one of your 100 skills that you never thought you'd have to, i.e., just hanging out at a backyard barbecue and boom, right into action?
Oh. Man, there's been a couple, but probably helping my buddy get rid of a body once was definitely on top of the list. I'm just kidding. I saw your eyes go, wait, what?
Dude, yeah, I'm going to pay attention.
Rectal
maybe I should stop recording.
Rectal concealment is up there on the list. You have to at least try it out. The stubby cigar tubes, I got to say, they're not as uncomfortable as it may seem. You fill it with all your little survival tools, but it was just to see if I could get it out, So I highly recommend everybody try a rectal concealment. You might find some pleasure in it, but the real question is, will it come out? And so my curiosity got the best of me, and I was like, yep, it does come out. So hey. Go out and try.
No trips to the doctor, huh?
Right. That's book 1. Used by magicians, prisoners. It's called a prisoner's purse for a reason, right?
You did it wrong when you make Dr. Johnson's book of crazy things he finds in people's rectums.
That is those posts that you see on social media always make me wonder, like, what the hell were they thinking? Where you see like an arrow up somebody's ass.
Exactly. It's like, what?
Why are you doing that?
Or a bowling trophy or
yeah. So odd.
What
Another good, just to answer that question even more accurately, is when I was in high school, I'm walking down the hall. There was these two dudes that were always fucking with me in my algebra class. And of course, I had a smart ass mouth, so I'd always smart off back to them with something wittier, right? It just drove them nuts that if they called me dork, I was always like, "Why don't you shut your cock holster?" So they couldn't handle coming back with such like violent verbal kung fu that as I'm walking to the classroom one day, I've got my my writing instruments in my right hand. I got my books in my left, and I'm going to the class. I'm a little bit tardy as usual. And these two knuckleheads are standing outside the door waiting for me. So the hall is empty and it's just us three. And the first kid, he like lunges to try and like tackle me, but he falls short. So he hits the ground and his hands reach out and kind of hold on to my ankles. And I'm like staring down at him and I'm like, "What are you doing?" It's kind of like this weird, awkward moment.
Right.
Other guy is now kind of coming because the first attempt didn't really work out so well. So now the second guy gets involved and now he truly is tackling me. And as I'm falling to the ground, I'm taking the handful of pencils and pens and I'm just stabbing him in the back with it as we fall to the ground. You know what I mean? So of course, end up in the principal's office and I got suspended for 3 days because
shocker.
I used the pen and pencil, which I talk about in book 1, how the pen is not a bad weapon to use if you don't have anything else, right?
The pen is mightier than the sword, right? In more ways than one.
A couple examples there.
I like that. All right, one more, maybe two more. Jerry Black, and I like this question. Do you have or have you thought about having a weekend class here in Nashville to train like-minded individuals how to hone their skills?
Yes. So I have what I'm calling the Violent Nomad Challenge. And I don't know when, but I already have it planned out. I already have it figured out. In fact, I was going to do it before the pandemic, but the pandemic kind of screwed things up. So it's coming. All right. And the Violent Nomad Challenge will be a course to not just learn, but test yourself. And it's following 3 basic principles. You will be taught everything you need to know, number 1. Number 2, you will have to demonstrate the skill back to your peers. And then number 3, you will be tested under stress. And it will be awesome. Guys will dig it. They will leave emotionally upset. They will hate me. But about 2 weeks later, they will be like, "That was the best experience of my life," right? And that's what I say about buds. That's what I say about 18 Delta. When you're in it, you're like, "Man, this sucks." But on the backside, your confidence, your security, everything about you will be bumped up a couple of notches, no doubt about it. And I feel like that's the best way to learn. So I put together something super cool. It'll be a weekend type deal. But yeah, dates and place and all that to be announced.
Well, let's work on coming to Nashville. We got a great place, great facility for you to do that here, Royal Range, USA.
Okay.
They do a lot of hand-to-hand combat courses and what they've got the facilities to handle all that.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine for sure. Yeah.
All right. Last one. This is from Iron Lord. Another one from Iron Lord. It says, "Just decided to download your book, The Right Kind of Crazy. I'm looking forward to it." So there you go.
Yeah, good. So that book was a flop, mainly because it came out at the worst timing. So
oh, really?
It came out when basically the Russian investigation came to an end, and then we rolled right into pandemic. And so all the publicity I had lined up for it got canceled, and everything went to the virus.
Man.
But I will say this now. So if we go over just real quick, we go over to Amazon and we read some of the 1-star ratings.
Okay.
These are probably some of the funny. I just read, like literally the other day, somebody said, "Have you read those?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't read that crap." And let me read this one. It didn't bother me too much because everyone's got an opinion, but
sure.
I love how Amazon puts the 1 stars first. So this one guy's like, 1 star. Title of this comment is "Waste of Money." the biggest issue I have with the book is that everything I wanted to read, and the reason for buying the book, was redacted. I wanted to read about the missions, but none of that was printed. So I had to read about childhood torturing Saudi cats. He just kind of goes on a rant, half-truths about his marriage, disgusting things guys do to each other as pranks, how effed up his mind is about wanting to find a psychopath for special ops missions. This guy is a joke. He may have been a great SEAL, but I didn't get to read about all of that. As a person, I didn't need to know any of it. So, I mean, I have gotten ripped apart on some comments. I mean, it still has a 4.7 rating or whatever the hell.
I mean, it's got a high rating there. You got 557 comments that people have left there.
Yeah, the one.
So why are you saying it's a flop? Why was it a flop? Just the numbers?
Yeah, numbers, really. That's what it boils down to. And the guy's right. The United States government it was highly redacted, and it was subjective.
Yeah, and it was, but you know what was entertaining about that was the fun that you had with the redactions. Yeah. So if you would go down and read his comments after the redactions, those were priceless, and you know, worth the price of admission to me. We talked about the last episode.
Some people just don't like kind of dark, sick, twisted humor, and that was also built into the book just based on childhood and team guy mentality. Like, we're not exactly like I always tell people have this vision of SEALs and operators as kind of like knight in shining armor, and I tend to compare them more to just dirty pirates, you know. So you know, it's you
got kind of the Captain America clean Boy Scout, you know, kind of
which is
what people picture you as, but you clearly spell it out in this book.
It's a different kind of memoir, and that's what
like I said, it clearly states my life as a Navy SEAL right there, my life. So I mean, how do they not know that you're going to be talking about your life in this book? But but apparently he read it, so
I
mean, even your worst critic is your best marketer, you know.
Right. Yeah, usually.
Usually. Well, there's still time, you know, it's just like, you know, those TV shows that don't hit it off, and during the pandemic, they became, you know.
Tiger King. Yeah, who would have thought?
The Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
Schitt's Creek was like one of the biggest bomb, I think, TV shows, and then once it got posted on Netflix, it became like.
Yeah, no kidding.
Gold.
And the pandemic took a bunch of stuff to the next level that would have never been known about. Yeah, you're right.
So leadheads, be like Iron Lord. Go and it's never too late to go get his. And this is your first book, though.
No, the memoir came. That was just 2019. 2019-20 is when it came out. So it's still a new book, really.
Yeah, and it's on audio too, so you can get it on audio. Who reads your books?
I read mine on the audio.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
Yeah, the memoir I did. They 100 Daily Skills. 100 Daily Skills. It's not worth getting an audiobook for, but
airdrop.
Yep. Memoir, though, I certainly read that. That was a migraine and a half of 5 days, 8 hours a day reading your own crap. So
I was gonna say, have you gotten any offers to read anybody else's book since then?
No, I don't know that I would do that. That's for damn sure.
You could be the next Ray Porter. Come on.
Yeah, right.
You got a good voice, man. You got a real good voice.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
But it is a good book. I mean, I read the book, and as I said, this is kind of what got me back into books and reading, and the audio books was this.
I appreciate that.
Because I wanted to read it for our interview, and I really enjoyed it. And like I said, reading it, I mean, in my childhood, I was kind of a little shit too, and it reminded me a lot of, you know, my childhood too. I was like, I was kind of that way too.
Right. That was the goal. Was just to relate to people, not try and ooh and awe you with cool missions. I know people want to hear and read that, but I also wanted to just show the human side, the human aspect to special operations and guys like me. So that was the goal.
Well, I think you delivered well on it, so you're not going to be disappointed in that book either, Leadhead. So go check it out, get it on Amazon as well. But definitely the 100 Deadly Skills series, you're not going to want to miss, and especially the Combat Edition. The other ones you don't have the videos. This is the first one you did the videos in, right?
Correct. Yeah. First time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that really, I think, will definitely set this apart and well worth the money because you get the book and you get the videos. And you can't have access to the videos without the book.
That's right.
So you got to get the book to get access to those videos. So go and do that. So our questions, I think we had, and I apologize, Leadheads, for making a late post on this. I should have posted it over the weekend to give you guys time. But let's go to Instagram and Facebook. And typically what I do, Clint, is just pick a number between, let's say, 1 and, I don't know how many we got here. Let's say 1 and 30.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just start on either Facebook or Instagram, and I'll start counting down until we hit that number. And that's who the winner is going to be. So if you want to pick a number, or you want to do a random number generator, however you want to do that, I'm going to give you the honors of picking the number. And then we'll start on, let's start on Instagram this time. I think I started on Facebook last time. And as of this recording, whoever's made the post, that's where they're at. So we'll start there and do the countdown.
All right. We'll go with 17.
17. There you go.
Easy.
So let's start at the top. I'm going to refresh. So here's 1. Come on, scroller work. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, did I say Instagram I was going to start on?
I'm not sure.
I think I said Instagram. So let me go Instagram. We'll start on Instagram first. I was on Facebook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we'll go to Facebook 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And you said 17.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some more comments over here. 14. Then I'll go to the Instagram video because some of you posted questions on that video too. 14, 15, 16. And then we'll go back to Instagram. 17.
Who's the lucky winner?
And it is Iron Lord.
Wow, look at, he knows your tricks. He's just putting himself everywhere.
Yeah, it's Iron Lord. I want to make sure. So there you go, Iron Lord. Thank you for the participation. All you Leadheads, thank you for the participation and the questions and the comments. Let me just check email, make sure nobody emailed me anything in the meantime, because some of my listeners like to email. So nothing as of this recording. So everybody, that's everybody. Iron Lord, congratulations. Shoot me an email, talkinglead@gmail.com. You won the Geisley AR trigger. There you go.
Nice. Good job. Congratulations.
Shoot me your contact info, and we'll get that to you. So is there anything else you got coming up that we need to be aware of in the world of Clint Emerson?
I've got a couple of books and, podcasts coming out. It's not out yet, but people can go and listen to the first season, which is Can You Survive This Podcast? I've taken over as host. The first guy did a great job setting it up, so you can listen to it at iHeartRadio, obviously
Stitcher, Spotify,
all the other places. It's a fun format. It's interview, and then also like different crisis scenarios that we put our guests through. So
you'd be perfect for that.
I think that's how I ended up with the job.
Is that how you ended up with this?
Yeah, it's a good I like it. The guy, the SEAL prior to me, he did a great job setting it up for success. And then so now I'm the host, and hopefully we'll take it to the next level. So look out for that.
Is that going to be like a once a week, once a month? How often are those going to come out?
They should be kicking off season 2, which is me, will be will be every Tuesday, starting, I believe, end of May, early June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to be doing them live, or are they going to be recorded and then posted every Tuesday?
Yeah, they're pre-recorded. They'll go live on all audio platforms on Tuesday, and then YouTube on Thursday, Friday-ish.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be good. It's Can You Survive This Podcast? That sounds fun.
Yeah, should be good.
I'll go check out the first season there, and then looking forward to you hosting the next. So you just have like certain personalities, like famous people on, and ask them how they would get through certain situations?
Kinda, yeah. It's run by a production studio out in Hollywood, Cavalry Media, and the 2 producers who started Cavalry were the guys that did like Captain Phillips and 50 Shades of Grey, and between the 2 of them, they've got quite the resume of, you know, both big TV shows and big movies. They did House of Cards, that kind of stuff, and so they have an audio division. The audio division has, I think, a dozen or more podcasts, and Can You Survive This Podcast was, I think, their internal #1 show. And so they line up the guests, and usually it's astronauts, and I think this year we've got astronauts, we've got NASCAR drivers, we've got some A-listers, we've got some of my friends. So there'll be a variety of people on there, of all walks of life. The first part is kind of a, interview, but, because I'm a little dark and twisted, I take the interview is a little different, I'd say. Definitely entertaining. And then the second half is we put them into a scenario. It could be a hostage scenario. It could be some kind of natural disaster. It could be,
this could be a game show, man.
It's got the game. People can, and it's a decision tree format. So the answer A or B, and then that determines, right? It determines the next question, the next answer, and how you answer determines whether or not you survive this podcast. That's it.
It's like an escape room kind of thing.
Yeah, but the goal really is through the questions and through the answers, the listeners will get to learn, how to get yourself out of these certain situations. So it'll be a lot of fun. Fun way of learning the skills that I push on a regular basis.
Right, and getting different walks of life, like astronauts or like NASCAR drivers, like you said, in their fields and their professions, and catastrophes or whatever they may encounter. So that'd be really cool. Hey, if you need a co-host,
yeah, we might be able to pull that off someday.
Lefty would love to do that. That sounds
okay.
Like my cup of tea right there, man. I love that. Very cool. So
absolutely.
Leadheads, check out Clint, all his websites, everything coming up.
Yeah.
You got ClintEmerson.com. He's is it Clint Emerson or 100 Deadly Skills? I do Clint Emerson and it comes up.
Yeah, you can, just my name. Unfortunately, you can find everything about me.
For you corporateites, if you want him to train your team, escapethewolf.com.
That's right.
You can go there, and for his awesome swag, and he's even got a knife now, his own custom knife. You can go to Violent Nomad, and you can pick up the swag there. Yeah. And if you're watching on our YouTube, you can see the shirt I got here, Violent Nomad. Love it. Very cool.
Awesome.
Clint, I want you to come back on when you get this podcast started. Let's push and promote it and talk about it. I can't wait for that. Is that going to be this year when that starts?
Right. I've been recording already. We got 4 or 5 shows already under our belt, and I'm recording guests every week, multiple guests a week. So this thing will go live in this June, here in next month or so, month and a half.
Nice. So that's coming up.
Yeah. So I've got a promo video, that trailer that will be coming out soon, and it's turned out super cool. So I'll make sure I tag you and everybody else, and let the world know about this thing. Hopefully come out swinging.
Absolutely, man. That'd be cool. And that'd be one of those that'd be enjoyable to watch too. Are they going to video it too, so you can, kind of like I'm doing now?
Right. Yep.
Probably a lot better production than what I've got. But
well, I mean, they are a production studio, so it better be damn good, right?
Right. Yeah. Hey, if they want to pick up Talking Lead and put it under their label, I'd be happy to talk to them about that.
Yeah, all right. I'll bring it up. Heck yeah.
So I mentioned earlier we're Marvel fans and comic book fans. We mentioned that in the last episode. Have you been catching up on the Disney Plus episodes? And
I'm behind on some of the shows they just released, but I do plan on going over there and checking them out.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I've got the app. I just keep forgetting to actually use it.
WandaVision.
Yeah,
you'll like them.
All right, cool.
Yeah, check them out definitely. All right, Leadheads. Until the next episode, go show Clint some love on his social medias, his website. Go and order the book, 100 Deadly Skills Combat Edition, and shoot me an email, talkinglead@gmail.com. Let me know what you think about it. Give me some of your feedbacks and any questions that you have for Clint, maybe that we didn't get to cover today, and we'll try to get those answered for you through the emails. Again, you can always reach out to him on social medias too. I forget, you can just touch people instantly on the social medias nowadays. It's
right.
Crazy.
I might not respond, but you can at least reach out. I'm bad about that. It's nothing against anyone who reaches out.
Yeah, so until then, Leadheads, as always, keep your loved ones close. And my guest will say, and your firearms
closer.
There you go. And your deadly combat skills honed.
That's right. Yep.
Through 100 Deadly Skills Combat Edition.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, Lefty. I hope to come on again soon.
Yeah, man. Anytime. You're welcome back anytime. Just keep me posted on stuff you got, like the podcast.